Okay. I'd like to see if the sound is on. Oh, it's on. Yeah. Because on the last stream there were some complications, and the first time the sound wasn't working. Yeah. But it is working today. So okay. Going just to make a quick introduction to see if someone comes. So, oh, I have to try something. Wait. Give me just a second. I want to try something here. Okay. Okay, so welcome to today's live stream. In this live stream, I'm going to make like a quick presentation of Airadur Village, which is the village that we are kind of developing in my Patreon. We're developing the villages, the places in the village, the characters, and the entire lore. Hopefully, in community. That's the idea. And to start, let me see. Oh, it works. It's working. It's working. What happens if I, oh, perfect. Okay, so this is Airadur Village. And so this is the illustration, the normal illustration for Airadur Village map. It's kind of a small village, is kind of a rather new village, meaning it doesn't have like that many decades. And it's a very pleasant place that was built in the intersection of several roads. And the lore goes a little bit around that for some reasons. But just as a quick introduction, like how did this started? And it didn't start with like the entire. If you saw my previous live stream, which was more about the like what I'm doing with my Patreon, what's the idea of my Patreon, and how are we going to kind of develop this world building as a community. um, I already talked a little bit that we are going to be developing Airadur Village, but to be very honest, when I first drew this map, that wasn't the idea. That wasn't my idea for it. So my thing was I had some free time and I wanted to draw a village map because I had never done it. I had done like regional maps, world maps, incredibly big city maps, and I quite enjoy building city maps up until some point. There's too many buildings, and one of the things that was frustrating for me is that because the city maps that I drew were such big cities, I could never give like detail to the to the houses and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm able to wait, I'm discovering these things. Oh, well, yeah, I can do this. And so in a village, I have more of a way of developing all of these roofs and all of these, farming sites and forest and trees and all these little details. And now I'm missing the term of what this is called. I'm not native English speaker, and now I forgot the name of this. The wells, I think it's wells where you get the water. Sometimes my brain goes blank on this kind of expressions. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. Um, and I really like, I had some time and I was like, no, I want to explore like these things. And we have the forest here. There's a lot of things regarding the forest, and we have like the subtitles here. Um, there is a story on why this part of the forest is cut. We're going to explore a little bit about this lore today, what I have on this lore. But that's the thing. Like, I just wanted to kind of uh, draw a village. And I started doing the base sketch. And at the time, and this was some years ago, at the time, drawing the sketch, there was this challenge on Instagram that was about like creating a village and its lore. And I was already creating the village. And so I was like, yeah, sure. Like, let's create a little bit of lore. And it was like a funny challenge. It was nothing very developed. Um, but I started doing that. I didn't follow up with a challenge because, in the meantime, it took me a lot of time just to finish this map. And I ended up missing the weekly challenges and all of that. But I ended up with a small kind of lore. And once I had that, I realized at that time I was already thinking, well, I really want to start working a bit more on battle maps and stuff like that. And at that point, I was like, oh, do you know what would be funny? Is that if I actually used this village and started to create battle maps inside this village. And so this is how I came to this particular idea of developing Airadur Village. Um, and one funny thing is that uh, it became very colorful, and it was not on purpose, but the entire maps related to this village are very colorful. I try to give more sober tones, and I always end up with like these bright, strong colors for some reason. I have huge difficulties in keeping on more pastel or realistic tones or stuff like that. So for me, there are just really quick. At the time, I really thought that there was some advantages into into doing like this and working like this. um, One of them is that my job also being in the creative field and also being very creativity demanding. Sometimes one of the things that was making it difficult for me to advance on this project, not on this project, but on creating battle maps, was the I have to think in what I want to do for a map and why and all of that. And that can be very overwhelming for me, especially at the time. And sometimes it can lead me to analysis paralysis and decision paralysis. And I realized, okay, if I have like this village as a central node, I already have a lot of locations that I know that I have to create a map for. And so I have like this structure where I don't have to be constantly thinking, what map am I going to do right now? I just have to follow the maps that I need for the village, and that can help me create the kind of creative structure that I need to create to keep this project going. So that's a huge pro. It also helps me keep focused on a project instead of being always going for the ideas that I have. Because this is a difficulty for me. Because sometimes it's like, this week I want to do battle maps, the next week I want to do a children's book, the next week I just imagine doing designs for t-shirts, and the next week, and I have a lot of ideas. Like, if I didn't need to work for clients, I would work a lot because I have a lot of ideas. And but sometimes it can be overwhelming, and it can be a bit chaotic, and it can lead me to actually not advance on anything, which was like an issue in the past. And by having this kind of bigger goal, suddenly my brain is like, oh yeah, let's go this way, let's just focus on this until the end. Because the monotropic part of my brain goes like, okay, I started this, I have to take it to the end, I have this huge thing to do, and this is my focus for the next years. And so it's a bit of a way to trick my brain into keep focused on one project, despite all the ideas that I still have. Like, I still have the ideas. It's just that I can keep the main focus on this one because it's like a big task that is not finished, and I want to finish it, and I want to dedicate to it, and I want to do it. So it's a very nice way to trick my brain into keeping itself on a bigger project, on a bigger objective. um, the other part is that uh, because I'm building things around this village, makes me keep connected with lore creation. What I mean is, it's very easy if I start to do like random battle maps that I completely forget at some point that I want to do world building, and I may find myself in some years going like, yeah, I drew a lot of maps, but I didn't dedicate world building. And with having this scheme where I started with a village, it's like keeping everything tight together, and it works for me. um, and it also makes me explore like one style of painting and drawing, because I also have a tendency to, like, every map I want to try something different, every map I want to do something different, and that can be a bit problematic if I want to create something bigger. And although it's great in terms of experimentation, and I do believe in artistic experimentation, and I will always do something regarding that, sometimes it also keeps me from developing things in one way and actually improve my skills. Like, you're always improving your skills, I guess, even if you're always experimenting with different styles. But like, actually having this need to keep things in one style can be like a very nice challenge for me too, so that I don't uh, get completely lost in the experimentation itself, instead of focusing on the project, because experimenting, it's really nice. So actually having like this setting is a great way to trick my brain in a lot of aspects to actually work on this, and to actually focus on this project and keep it going. It has some disadvantages. For instance, It keeps me stuck in one style of painting and drawing instead of being constantly experimenting. And it's a bit paradoxical, but I put this in the pros and cons, both on the pros and cons, because, as I said, I also find that experimenting with different ways of doing things it's very important for the creative process. And I do fear a bit that because I'm really trying to keep all the maps related to Airadur Village in one style. I do fear that at some point it can become boring to me. I'm not there, so I don't know. Maybe it won't happen. Maybe it would actually be a good thing for me. Um, Another disadvantage is that it may be a bit more constrictive in terms of imagination and exploration of different themes of different things, and I think this would be a problem, more of a problem for me, first if I didn't have the interest in the actual world building, and second if I could dedicate only to this, instead of having a job, if I could live just from my art, because in that case I would have much more creativity, um, like more creative energy to have other ideas, and I could feel constricted. But the truth is that my mental energy has its limits, and in the setting that I am right now, in the life, in in my way of life right now, where I do have a job as a designer and I spend creativity there, and then I have this on the side. It actually saves me a bit of mental energy. So yeah. Also, if I had all the time to dedicate to this, I would probably be able to work also on things that would step a bit away from it, so it wouldn't be much of an issue. And there is a thing, which is because all of this happened a bit by chance, it may give a little more work or create some issues as we develop the lore. Let's see, because it wasn't thought from the beginning to have this lore. But let's see what's happened. Um, Now, regarding the lore, I have some things written, and I thought I had more, to be honest. I didn't prepare this live stream very well. And so just today I thought, oh, I only have this. And I thought I have more because I think that through the years, I keep thinking about the lore. And so in my mind, there was a lot more lore, but only a very short bit of it is actually written. And so I think what I'm going to do for today is I'm going to quickly read the lore that I have. And I would like that these sessions would be a bit about developing ideas and the lore and the world building with the community. But since right now there's not that much of a community, I think I will use it a bit to also put some ideas on a mind map, so that then I can develop the lore and make it a little bit like that until, you know, people start to come and appear at my page, if they do. So let me read. I'm going to read the actual lore, because then I have some things. So in a clearing of the Riorad forest lives an old hag named Kairna, and for a long time that was all there was to tell. On the other side of the river, some important roads crossed, and travelers start passing more and more with the years. For a long, long time, Kairna didn't care. As the road's traffic intensified, the place started to have interest, and at some point, it was decided that it was the perfect place for a village. And so the construction began. For some time, the newly arrived people stayed in one side of the river, building house after house, completely unaware of the old hag existence. She saw them cut trees, build new houses, farm the earth. She didn't like it, but ignore it. As long as they don't cross the river, she kept saying to herself. But they did. Of course they would. When they tried to start cutting the forest on that side of the river, Kyrna showed herself. She cursed them 1,000 times, but most of all, she warned them no tree of that forest should be cut, or they would face the wrath of the forest spirits. They, of course, ignored the crazy old hag, but when they started cutting the trees, strange things started to happen. Accidents, illnesses, fateful events, and together with Kayurna constant stories about the spirits and demons of the forest, a fear started growing in them, and they ended up giving up. But the bridge stayed, and the forest hag started to be both respected due to her incredible healing knowledge that actually saved many of the wounded and sick men who tried to cut the trees of Riurad forest, and fear due to her nightmarish stories about the forest spirits and their constant curses. No one wanted to be at the end of her curses, for they may not happen exactly as she said, but strange things happened to whom she cursed. More or less at the same time, the men tried to expand to the other side of the river. A young maiden seemed to appear out of nowhere and started living with the hag. Her name was Lyrin. She was an elf, or at least that's what she seemed to everybody, although she didn't confirm nor refute it. Tall, lean, and beautiful. Contrary to Kayurna, she was very pleasant to everybody, and although Kayurna was always grumbling with her, Lyrin always answered with a gentle smile and a witty response. Hers was a strange relationship, but no one doubted that it was a deep one. With the constant flux of travelers, Airadur Village thrived. The foamy lemon inn was always full of the most diverse people. People brought news from the entire kingdom, and any business in the village thrived, especially House Garon's stables, known for its amazing breeded horses. Kayurna and Lirin, yielding knowledge and magic, became known, and although they lived in the clearing on the other side of the river, both denizens and travels became used to go there when in need of healing treatment, potions, and some would say even magic items. Kayurna always grumbled. But even through her complaints, she would treat whomever came to the clearing. The rule was known by all. They could go to the clearing, but not to the forest. The horrific stories Kayurna told about the spirits and demons of the forest were enough to convince everybody that this was for the best. And for many, many decades, all was well. So, this was what I wrote, and this is mostly how the village started. And a huge part of this lore, it's the past. It's the past in relation to the time where this map was done. So it's how the village become to be constructed in this place. But I have a lot of ideas that relate also to the past and to the present, and those are the ones that I would like to start develop more through all of these live streams. I'm gonna start by one that is interesting for me because the idea was okay. Someone had the idea because like as you can see, there are 4 main roads that come from different parts of the kingdom. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this was like a zone where they crossed, and it's a zone like near the river, and like it's a great place. It's actually a very good place to build like a middle point village in the travels for the people. And so it would be like, it would be really smart to build a village there, but someone had to have this idea. And maybe not one person, but a group of people, like, I don't know. But in that group of people there would be the person that became the mayor of the village, and that would be like the person, like in my mind, that would be like the person who was more proeminent in like orienting the way the village was being built and how it was going to be and all of that. And initially I was like, yeah, so that's the mayor, and this is the mayor's house. Give me just a house, which is quite big. I was looking at the map today, and I was like, because this is the mayor house number 3, and this is the inn, which is number 4. And maybe, like, I don't know, maybe it should be the other way around, because the inn seems kind of small in relation to the mayor's house. I don't know. Like, maybe the mayor's house is just, ground floor, and the inn is actually 2 or 3 floors. I don't remember, but I have that pointed out somewhere. Um so I don't know, but the inn has the stables and all of this. Maybe this is the inn too. Maybe this is an extent of the inn as it grows, and maybe, I don't know. Maybe we need to think about this better. But at the time, like, this was the mayor's house. But this is the thing: when I first thought about the mayor and the mayor's house, not the mayor's house, but the mayor, when I first thought of him, I immediately thought of a man, you know. And the other day, I thought, but why a man? And I'm this kind of person that sometimes I just go on the wise for no reason. I swear to you, this is not even feminism or nothing like that. But it's like challenging, just reflecting on why did I immediately created a male mayor? And the answer is because it's the first thing. Because, and this because just means, because if you think of the past, um like, the mayor of a place, like every possible position of power was filled by males, right? And at least since Christianism. And I was like, what if, just bear with me, what if instead of a male it was a female, for no particular reason? This is not a political stance. This is not a feminism kind of thing. It's just a, why not challenge that norm just for the fun of it? Just because, like, our brains are so defined to think of, if there was a village in a medieval setting, then the mayor would be a man. Why not bring a surprise element? And that's the main reason I find it funny to do it that way. It's just to really make your brain goes, wait, what? That's a twist, you know? And I can see it in my mind. I can see it, like, I can see the mayor, and, like, this is how I see it in my mind. Bear with me. This is going to sound weird, but this is how I see it. So there is um this merchant, like, very bulky merchant, that travels with the caravans, and also there's his wife that goes on one of those travelings. And when they get here, no village existed in this place at the time. When they get here, she's like, oh my god, I'm tired of the road. Why did you bring me, Quincy Jr.? I don't get this. There should be a village right here, you know. And she's one, I imagine her like one of these women that makes you go like, yes ma'am, right away ma'am, whatever you say ma'am. This kind of women that it's not that they are mean, but it's just that they are so assertive, like these big matrons, that you just go, yeah, whatever you say I will do. And I imagine her like this. And I imagine her like being tired of the road, and as they camping, she's like, there should be a village here where I could go to an inn and take a bath and actually sleep on a bath. I'm tired of being on the road. And 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 the merchant, like her husband, going like, oh yes dear, I agree dear, you're so right dear. And everybody kind of laughing, and she goes like, I bet I could convince people to make a village here. And the man goes like, oh dear, I maybe we shouldn't think about that. And she was like, why, you think I can't? And the man, knowing his wife, going very blank and big, no, it would never ever ever cross my mind to tell you that you can't do it. You can do whatever you want. You're a strong woman, and I'm pretty sure you can. But the people on the caravan also know them, and so one of them goes like, oh, I don't know, I mean, she's we have to admit, like, she's a very resourceful woman, but building a village, I don't know, maybe that's too much for her. And she's going like, are you challenging me? I bet you I can build a village right here. And this being kind of this fun thing, where then she goes, well, I know people, when we get back to our place, I'm going to talk with this person and that person, and we are going to build a village here, because I'm tired of these travels all along the country, and forest roads and all of that. And you, Quincy Jr., you're getting old, you're getting too old for this too. You can't be traveling around for the rest of your life. We have to settle, and this is a beautiful place to settle. Look at the forest, look at the river, look at all of this, much better than our city. And and I don't know, this entire idea came to my head like yesterday or something. And I can see this character so well in my mind that I'm like, now I want this character. And this was in the beginning, but then I can't imagine her daughter, because they have a daughter. They don't have a son, they have a daughter. And the daughter, um well, the daughter, I imagine her a little bit less reactive, but also like a strong woman full of resources. And I imagine her then taking over her mother's place. And at the time that this map and the present times of Airadur Village come into play, she's already older and has her own daughter, and you have these three generations of a matriarchy in this village, where there are these strong women who are who basically run a village that was created basically because someone told the grandmother that she couldn't do it. Sounds like, I don't know, sounds like something that it's out of the norm. It's out of the box, and I love it for being out of the box. um and so I'm thinking of going that way regarding that. And now this is the thing, these are things that actually that they are written here too, and I'm going to read them really fast, because because I created this lore, like a very short intro to the map. There are things, where do I have that? Wait, I lost something. There's too many things open here at the same time. I lost it. I lost it. I have to open it again. Where is it? Um Fantasy maps. No, it's nothing of this. It's here. I closed the lore. Why did I close the lore? Okay. Now we have it. And a lot of this lore regarding the village is tied up with what's happening in here, the Riorad forest. So this is the house of the old hag, Kayurna, you know. So is this clearing in the forest. This right here, wait a second. This right here is where they start cutting the trees, and now you know why they stopped cutting trees and never advance on this side of the forest. And so you have here Kairuna's house, and then you have this number 10 is the demon seal, and the two number nines, these are portals, magic portals. And now I'm going to read, and like one of the things is that a lot of the lore regarding this village is going to be tied up to what's going on in here. Okay, this is the mystery part. And I'm going to read what I have like written about this part. Riorad Forest was old, like really old. And when I say old, I mean it's as old as the Fae. And it was actually the home of the ancient race when it still lived in our world. And no, and this, I have an error here. And despite the fact that the dimensions shift, it still kept portals to the Fae world. Both Kayurna and Lirin are actually Fae disguised as an old human and a elf. They are both very, very powerful magical beings, and there is an actual good reason for their presence in this realm and for wanting to keep everyone away from the forest. Millenniums ago, a powerful and evil demon, and I want to study a bit like Fae demons because I would like to keep this Faeric theme around here. An evil demon was sealed in this forest by the Fae. His body is in a barrow topped by a big stone circled with other stones. The enchantment in the seal is powerful and ancient and keeps the spirit of the demon asleep beneath the barrow. But those were ancient times when the ones walking on earth would recognize the sealing barrow at sight and so kept away from it as to not disturb the place. But what would adventurers do now if they encountered the barrow? If they touched the wrong place, they could weaken the seal or even break it, and so they must be kept away. But will someone enter the forest and discover the barrow now? And and so that's a very short intro to what happens here. So here is where the fire demon is sealed. This is the demon seal, and this is basically a fire forest, and you actually have very specific portals that you can cross exactly because despite the fire had run to a different dimension or have shift to a different dimension, they still keep like this access as a way to keep an eye on this seal because whatever is here is it's nasty and you want to keep it that way, and Kayurna just lives here to keep an eye on it. And for me, like in my idea, this is how things go. Um, So in the past, and this is still in the past, this is still the plump woman that makes everyone, yes ma'am. um she's like, she comes back with all of the people to start building the forest, and we have kind of the lore that I read a little bit ago, and things kind of go well, and people are keeping away from the forest. But you know how kids are, and with everybody very busy like building the place, the kids would a lot of times run to this side of the forest, like this side of the river, and kind of explore the forest. And my idea, for everything that will become the present of this village, is that at some point the daughter of the mayor goes missing in the forest. And because, at that time people were still seeing Kayurna as being kind of a witch, and so the mayor goes directly to Kayurna's house with her husband Quincy Jr. I don't know why I gave him this name, but it's Quincy Jr. on her heels, like going, "Calm down, calm down, calm down, dear. Don't make anything rash. Don't bring the wrath of the witch on us, please," and all of that stuff. And her going like, "If she touched my little Anna, she's going to be the one who has to fear my wrath, not the other way around," and all of these things. But when she gets to Kayurna's house and starts yelling and starts accusing Kayurna and all of that, there's actually kind of a conversation like, when did she disappear, and like, uh this is dangerous and all of that. And so I'm keeping it very short, um but having this thing where Kayurna goes, "Okay, you wait here, you don't enter the forest no matter what happens, and I'm going to try to retrieve your daughter." And she does exactly that. And the daughter, as I had actually passed through the fire world, and so Kayurna has to bring her back from the fire world and bring her back, uh like to the to her hut. But now the child knows that there's something in the forest, and so Kayurna has to, um, come open about the reality of Rirat Forest, at least with the mayor. And once the mayor knows what's actually going on in this forest, and understands why things, like why the forest needs to be protected, and all of the things that are in place, she actually kind of creates a connection with Kayurna, and takes a bit of the responsibility of keeping people away from the forest. And so, and the child also knows what she saw. She knows that there's another realm, she knows that there are fires, she knows everything. And so it's like there's a relation that starts between them, and through that relation, like the way the village develops kind of changes, because now the mayor knows that it, like, for the village to grow here without an issue, they really have to keep attentive so that people don't go to the other side of the forest, don't break the seal, and don't mess up things. And so the kind of guards, for instance, that she hires to the village are very specific. Doesn't mean that they all know about that, about what's going on. Maybe some do and some don't. Probably like higher level soldiers know, like the captain or something like that, knows. Maybe some elves in the guard knows. I imagine, like, this is for the next. This is actually for the next live stream, where I'm going to present the guard towers, and we can go a little bit on the guards. But I would just like to say that I can see the mayor's daughter, that then will become the mayor in present times, actually marrying the captain of the guard, um, of the village. And so the captain of the guard is with them in uh, protecting the village and protecting the forest. Then I can see, like, the inn, um, whoever runs the inn, also be a part of the complot, of the mesh of people who knows about the reality of Rirat Forest. Like, the people from House Garam may also be connected with the secret. I actually envision that there is kind of uh, an underground connection between places in the city, like, some kind of, um, well, it's not, maybe not exactly dungeons, but how do you call it? Wait, I know, I have that here. um I have that here. Basement. It's also not like it like in the basement of these houses, then you have a connection to some kind of underground roads. I think it would be kind of a dungeon, kind of a dungeon, and having this underground connection between places in the city, um, so that a lot of things can be done in a very subreptitious way, so that there are fast connections between some points in the city, and even the city and the forest. So I'm imagining that the inn, the mayor's house, the this is like the guards. I have Airadur Fort, but this is not really a fort. Maybe I need to change his name. It's kind of the guards' houses, and the guards' camp, and House Garam, and they probably connect with some place here, or with a water mill, because somehow I put the water mill here, and so there will be some importance to it. Maybe to the water mill, so that they can easily reach in a very discreet way to the bridge, and get to the forest, like, really fast if needed. But yeah, my idea is that everything around this town may then be somehow tied up with a connection with the forest on this side, um, that is, basically a huge portal to the fire realm. Maybe, like, basically a huge connection between worlds, and a very dangerous connection with a demon um, that was sealed a long time ago. Um, there might be some idea of treasures around here. I don't know. I think if there were to be any kind of treasures, it would probably not be money or, material things, but more like magic items or magic something that could attract people. Like, because, you can only keep a secret for so long. That's why secrets are terrible. It's because you can only keep them for so long. Sooner or later they're going to be discovered, and so sooner or later, um, someone will kind of challenge this idea that you can pass to the other side of the river for some reason, independently of what it is. Maybe it's really because someone is crazy enough to want to free the demon. As far as I know, it can be that, you know. And so I think, I don't know if I will take the lore to that point or not, because I also want to leave, like, I don't know if I want to leave some things open so there is the adventure, or to have like a full story but people can then just remove after some point and had their own adventures at that point with a trigger or something. Either way, like, I think whatever extension of lore I can create, people are always free to use the lore, not use the lore, use just part of the lore as inspiration and then change the rest. um, I think it's pretty much along those lines. So, this was kind of a general idea that I have for the forest, for the village. There are tons and tons and tons of details that I don't know how I'm going to tie them up at this point. You know, um, what I'm going to do, like, right now, not right now, but in the next days, in the next weeks, in the next time, in the next times, is that I am already, like, one thing is, you can get these maps on my Patreon right now. The village maps, you have several, you have this map, you have several, wait, let me show you. You have several, how do I change this? Okay. um Entire screen. Sure. You have several variants of the maps. So you have, this is the normal one, and then you have uh with label. Okay, let me guess. You have with the label, you have without the label, you have maps with the labels and numbers but without anything, if you want to create something completely different with the map. And then you have variants. For instance, this is rain, snow. And you have, this is an old map version that I actually quite like. And this is night and autumn. So these are all the variants of this map. You can get them all on my Patreon. There should be a link down there if you want to join us. If you want to join me on my Patreon, be a part of the creation of this world. My idea is that these live streams is for us to build this world together, give ideas together, bring your ideas into the mix. This is quite open because of my limited time. And so if you see this video um, after after being live, and you have ideas that you want to add, uh, please just you can comment, you can share your ideas below, being on YouTube or on Patreon. The video will be accessible to everybody on both. I don't know if from this video on I will keep doing the videos accessible for everybody, but the first two videos, the first two live streams, I want to keep them open and just give your ideas there. That's what I wanted to build with my Patreon, is a community where we can go, like, have these conversations together and have your input and mix ideas and brainstorm things. There's a lot to be developed. from my part, I realized, because I thought a lot more was written, I realized that I have a lot of like written work to do. I have to, before I start losing all these ideas that already came to mind, I have to start put it in written form. Also because I want to be delivered, even if then it's changed and evolved in the future. I want to start delivering some lore as we move along, and as we go through each of these parts, we will talk a bit more about more specific things. Oh wait, I'm not sharing the screen anymore. Wait, here. As we go through these parts, we can start talking specifically about certain parts of the lore, the maps that I have done and that I'm going to be delivering in the next months, and I'm going to be focusing a bit more. It's like the guard towers. Why is there guard towers? Like the village is not walled, so why is there guard towers? And I may have to create a reason why is there guard towers in 3 roads and then there's no guard towers on this road. That, or I will have to add guard towers on this road, because that makes sense. Like it's like something went wrong with my brain when I did this part. I don't know. Maybe they are outside of the map. They are before the map, something like that. But the next live stream will probably be about the guard towers, why they exist, why having guard towers in a village like this, and starting to talk a bit about the guards, because I have some really cool and fun ideas about these guards. All kind of almost like fun and comic and interesting. And then I have the demon seal. It's also done, and then we can go a bit around the seal. Although I need to study the fire. I need to find a fire bestiary that I can, because I want to create like a really cool monster to be there. And it has to be fire. It has to be fire. And then I have the portals already done too, and the portals, like I actually don't have a lot of ideas on how to develop this fire thing. How much do they come and go? How much are the fire active in this dimension? Is it more a thing where they come out and go back to their world, and like the forest is kind of an enchanted forest, or like kind of a, from the point of view of the non, like the people, the actual people. I'm not going to say humans, because there will be a lot of those people are not humans, but being kind of a ghost forest with a lot of spirits moving around and tricksing people, or is just like the fire keeping their dimension and this is just an entering to it. That's something I have to define yet. um and I am now doing kind of a forest roadmap, um just to get back on my feet on drawing maps, because that's kind of simple. I have to say that I was very myself when starting this project. It's like, okay, I entered the village because things have an order. It's the artistic side of my brain going like, yeah, I entered the village, and we started by there, and that's why it's number one. It's because it's how things started. You entered the village. And then I get here and I'm like, oh my god, so many people, let me go to the forest. And and that's basically what happened. And I started to developing the illustrations of the forest. And so I'm doing now the forest road. I think after that I'm going to develop the clearing, and Kyorna's clearing and all of this. I think I will do the bridge too, and maybe a camping area or a caravan camping area, because you have the inn, but some caravans camp. There's space here to camp. there's space here to camp. There's lots of space to camp, and when it's big caravans, at least a part of them kind of have to. And so yeah, let me know your thoughts. If you this video, thank you so much for watching. Please, if something of what I said made you have any idea for this village, feel free to comment. And if you want to make part of a community that is having monthly streams to develop the lore of this village together and have fun doing it, and brainstorming and bringing characters to life and all of that, just join me on my Patreon. The link is below, and I would be very happy to actually have people in my community and in my Patreon, so that it doesn't feel like I'm doing these live streams for no one, because it feels a bit like it triggers imposter syndrome, and that's not funny. But at the same time, I really want to do this. So despite not having like people here right now, I'm still doing this. And that's it. So thank you so much for watching if you got here, and see you on my Patreon. And it should be that, but now I can't find where to stop the video. Oh, it's here. It's right here. Okay, bye-bye.